timeouts for the Clippers. Kennard gets the inbound, fires a deep three in the air. It's good. Don't shovel dirt on him yet. Slow with 5 to shoot, gives to Kennard. The three for the tie. Oh my goodness! I don't believe what I have seen. We are tied at 115. On top for the first time tonight. Oh my goodness! Hot damn!
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, Duke basketball played the other day against Clemson. It was a remake game, and luckily they were able to get this victory, barely, 71-69. Same guys stepped up. Paulo Macaro had 19 points. He did it on 15 shots, which isn't that great, but also had 7 rebounds, which is nice. But overall, it was a pretty weird game because it seems like they were kind of going back and forth, and Duke had the lead for a bit, and then all of a sudden they let Clemson get back into it every which way they could, and ended up losing the lead at some point, but got the victory nonetheless. And yes, hopefully they do get the victory in their next game. That's all we could hope for. Then the Lakers recently signed Stanley Johnson to a 2-year deal. He just came off of his second 10-day contract, so they were pretty happy with the... I look pretty white, huh? Yeah, that might help out a bit. So yes, yeah, they did sign him to a 2-year deal. It's going on for the rest of this year and into next year as well as a team option. So he's been one of the brighter spots for the Lakers and probably the NBA, just because he was kind of kicked out. Not because he did anything bad, it's just never really developed any better and got any good consistent play. But luckily that's what he's been for the Lakers, coming off the bench, and hopefully it can continue once AD returns, which is pretty soon, if not already by the filming of this video. Then apparently the Lakers have one trade offer right on the table, ready to sign if they're willing to do it right away. It is the John Wall trade I've been mentioning for the Houston Rockets, where the Lakers get John Wall. They trade away Russell Westbrook, but they do have to give up a first-round pick, which is what I mentioned might be the hiccup in getting this trade completed. And luckily, from what we heard from the Lakers, is that they aren't willing to part ways with that trade pick, even though it is in 2027. You don't know what the future holds for your team, so you rather have as many first-round picks as you can going into the future than instead of just giving them all up and going all in, especially on a player you might not know is ready to play 100% in John Wall. So, and plus it shows that you definitely really failed on the Russell Westbrook trade, because you had to give up a first-round pick to get him. Now you're going to have to give up another future first-round pick to get rid of him, which is pretty bad. So overall, it isn't a good look for the Lakers. They shouldn't have made the deal in the first place, in my opinion, but we'll see how this goes. Maybe they might trade away some second-round picks or other players that maybe haven't been playing as much on smaller contracts to get other younger players around the league. I'll mention that a little bit later in the video. And then when it comes to like other players, as I mentioned, of course it's the next thing I wrote, is that they are now expected to go after players like a Terrence Ross from the Orlando Magic, another guy, Kenrich Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of these guys, especially Kenrich, is a young guy who's pretty low on the depth chart, but whenever he does play, he is a high motor guy, which is what the Lakers kind of need, a little bit more youth and guys who aren't willing to give up so quickly with that high motor, as they say. Terrence Ross is a bit of a veteran player. He is around 31, but he can create his own shot and help you with your offense coming off the bench as a 6-man, which I've been trying to make that trade for him for a while to the Lakers, but of course they're looking at him now, but they're trying not to give up as many of their better players. I know they probably have to give up Talen Horton-Tucker and some other people to make up the money, but they're trying not to get rid of that first-round pick either, and some other key players that are playing well for them as of right now. But yes, we'll see how this goes with the NBA trade deadline coming up in a couple weeks. Then USC Basketball the other day played against ASU. believe that was a makeup game, and they did end up beating them 78-56. So congrats to the Trojans. That was honestly a excuse me, a night I totally forgot. Went to bed pretty early, like around 8 or 8:30, and then when I turned on ESPN to see what was going on real quick, I just saw that USC was playing and they were losing by like 10 points. So I was like, oh wow, like totally forgot this game was on. Hopefully they'll win this one. Luckily they did, and yeah, we'll see how the rest of the week looks like for them. But yes, congrats on that victory. Then I don't know who exactly put up the statue. I don't know if it was the Lakers or Kobe Bryant's family or anything like that, but apparently a statue was erected of both Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi Bryant in the same area where the helicopter crash actually happened. It's pretty cool, and it also puts on the names of the seven other people that lost their lives that day as well in the crash. So yeah, a nice little touching thing that they did. Obviously, was it yesterday? Yesterday or the day before? It was the sad anniversary of the passing, which sucked. But yes, finally they did finally erect something in their honor, which is great to see. And we'll see what else they can do in their honor. Honor all of those people. Then the Lakers, yes, they played early in the week as well on Tuesday, and they did get the victory against the Nets, which is a little bit surprising, but the Nets were down 2 of their stars. So yes, luckily the Lakers got that victory, 106-96. LeBron James went off once again, 33 points. I think he's still has that record of averaging over 25 points to be the oldest player to do that, which is pretty crazy, of course. But yes, luckily they are getting the victories again, especially on this East Coast trip that they pretty much have started. And I think they get Philadelphia tonight, which should be pretty interesting. And as I mentioned before, of Anthony Davis returning, yes, that Brooklyn game the other day was his first game returning in over a month. So it's good to see him out there. They ran a play for him. It was a quick dunk, as you saw right there. And he did all right. He got into foul trouble quite a bit, so he had to sit out most of the third quarter pretty quickly. But overall, he was able to get in there. He is on a minutes restriction, but he says he felt great after the game, so he doesn't believe there should be a minutes restriction on him anymore. So we'll see tonight, especially if LeBron is listed as questionable with knee soreness. AD might be the number one go-to guy tonight, so we'll see. Then there's this article saying if LeBron should request a trade, or he might request a trade from the Lakers, especially with the way the season is going. I wouldn't blame LeBron if he were to. I don't think there's any talk of him actually wanting to do this, especially this year. Maybe next season if everything goes to crap again. But yeah, I mean, other scenarios that they mentioned were obviously him being traded back to Cleveland. But the only 2 players they mentioned were Kevin Love and Colin Sexton coming back. I don't mind Colin Sexton. It just sucks that he is injured this year, and then you have to pretty much get him for next year and then re-sign him to a big rookie deal, which isn't bad. He does deserve it, but kind of wish that deal was already done so we could figure out how much money he is owed. And plus, Kevin Love just being thrown in there is just to match the salary. I don't really like it because he is getting paid quite a bit for an older guy who is eventually just going to end up getting off the team because of his age. I don't think they're going to re-sign him, and I think they should, if they were to do that, get at least a couple first-round picks, maybe another younger player. I doubt they're going to get the ex-USC Rookie of the Year candidate, Evan Mobley, on their team, but you could get another guy like Isaac Okoro, something like that, another young player that Cleveland has drafted pretty high in the past couple years. But I don't know. They also mentioned Philadelphia, him pairing LeBron James and Joel Embiid, who is having an MVP-like season, especially within the last month. His numbers are just ridiculous. But yeah, I guess that would be what LeBron always envisioned him and AD being instead of what it has been. But I don't know. Embiid is usually injury riddled as well, so I'm kind of expecting that to happen for him, whether it's right before the playoffs or during the playoffs, sadly. But he is a big man doing a lot of crazy stuff that big men normally don't do, and most likely is going to go down with some type of injury. But yeah, that would be crazy if LeBron gets traded there. I mean, there are a couple solid players there too, but it's not enough youth there, in my opinion, or maybe even first round picks. So I don't know. Be tough, be crazy if it does happen, but we'll see in the next year or two. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bye down.